All right. This is going to be fun. So, this is going to be a bit of some teaching and some workshopping. And for sure, you can take yourself off of mute if you have any questions. At the end of the teaching part of it, also, we can do some coaching. I'll usually share the teaching portion with anybody who has signed up for the replays. And then we can just do the coaching off to the side. So with that, thank you so much for being here. And if you are watching on replay, amazing. For those of you who may not be familiar with me entirely, I'll do a quick overview. My name is Michelle. I've been coaching since 2017 and was certified through the Life Coach School with Brooke Castillo. I've been in medical device sales for over 15 years now, and I have my master's degree in public communication with a background in human services. And I live in the Hudson Valley area of New York with my husband, Mark, and our rescue pup, Tucker. And I am a member of the cult that is Peloton. So if you are as well, please follow Misha417. Let's jump into the agenda. We're going to have fun. So today we're going to talk about what is purpose, where we often get it wrong, how to find your purpose. And then also we're going to take some time to sit today and actually define your purpose. Now, I want to just start out with what I use as the foundational tool of all my coaching. I've talked about it here on past trainings, and I've talked about it in the podcast. So I'm going to just lay out if we're using the circumstance as purpose and the thought model. And again, the thought model, it's really universal law, but my mentor, Brooke Castillo, developed the thought model as a way to look at how our thinking makes us feel, what we do, and the results we have in our life based on that. Some people may also call it the think, feel, do model, think, feel, act. So it really has a number of different kind of names to it, but this just keeps it very consistent and organized. So if we look at purpose as the circumstance, that is something that everyone is just going to have different thoughts about. A lot of times our thought is, I need to find my purpose. I'm not sure what my purpose is. I'm not sure how to find my purpose. When we're thinking like that, and I just want you to take a minute to kind of think about what your thought is if I say purpose. And if it is anywhere in the realm of what most of us often think, I'm not sure what my purpose is, think about the feeling that that generates. And for a lot of people, it's sometimes uncertainty or doubt. And then think about when we're feeling uncertain or doubtful, what our actions are or inactions, right? Because if we're uncertain, we're usually not taking any action. And then our result is we still don't know what our purpose is, right? So it's proving the thought to be true. I'm not sure how to find my purpose. I'm not sure what my purpose is. Makes us feel uncertain or doubtful, which leads us to inaction, which then keeps us in this cycle of still not knowing what our purpose is. So today we are going to figure that out, and we're going to come back to the model at the end of the workshop so that we can see the difference and how really shifting one thought or one sentence can make a tremendous difference in our result line. So what is purpose? I think a lot of times we think there's some big altruistic thing that we need to figure out in our lives. It's simply how we spend our time and where we put our focus, where our intentions are in our life. It's really not when we say like, I need to find my purpose, is as if we think we're going to be like hunting around and then all of a sudden the piano of purpose is going to fall on us and then we'll know what it is. But that's not how it works. It simply is, what are our intentions? How do we want to spend our time? Where do we want to focus our life? And I want to make sure we know that our purpose does not have to be tied to our job. Because I know for even myself, I try to think like, oh, if this is my purpose, something with my work, right? Because we spend so much time there. It's not what it is. It is simply who you get to be, how you spend your time. And the way we determine that is as simple as we decide. We decide what our purpose is, and we're going to work on that today. And our purpose can change. If we make a sentence today where we say, okay, this is my purpose, you can go back to it and change it at any time. So, for example, I was working with a woman not too long ago who, up until a certain point, her purpose was all about her job, all about succeeding, all about going after everything around her career. And then she had a baby. And then her purpose changed. And that's okay. We don't have to beat ourselves up for redefining what success looks like, redefining what purpose is, redefining what we want to do with our lives. Like, that is where the power is. We get to decide all of that. But where we often get it wrong is that we have this worthiness link to defining our purpose. So we think, if I have this, again, altruistic purpose of my life, then I'll have figured it out. But the truth is, we don't get any more worthy. Like, where we are now, we are already 100% worthy, which kind of takes the pressure off of thinking that there's something like out there that we need to find, and then we become worthy. No, let's just think we are already worthy. Let's just know. We don't have to even think it. It's just a matter of fact. Like, we are alive. We're breathing. We woke up. We're here. We're worthy. Now what? Now we get to decide what it is that we want to do. Another area that we get it wrong is procrastination. Back to thinking we need to find it or we're not sure how to get it. And Dan Sullivan talks about this with any goal that we're trying to accomplish. He talks about the 4 C's. So a lot of times when we are thinking we want to find our purpose, we think we need to have this level of confidence, especially if we've attached another layer of thinking that it has to be some big purposeful sentence or some altruistic, amazing, like world-changing purpose, right? But if we are waiting around for the confidence to be able to accomplish that, then we're hosed, because we're going to be waiting forever. Confidence is, again, not something that just all of a sudden arrives. What we need, Dan Sullivan says, is number 1, the commitment to finding out what that is, or the commitment to the goal. So for this workshop, we're going to say the commitment to determining and deciding what our purpose is. And you're here or you're watching on replay, so that is the commitment. Now we want to have the courage. So if we're talking about the 4 C's, courage is the second one. The courage to be able to start taking actions towards our goal, towards finding our purpose. And then as we take action, we will build our capabilities, right? So we are not just sitting around thinking we have to find it. Now we're taking the courage, having the courage to take the actions, which, by the way, might not always feel great. Like, my coach always says, courage feels like shit, because it's often when we're most nervous or worried or scared or thinking about what other people are thinking about, but we have to still keep going. That doesn't mean stop. So the commitment to get started, the courage to start taking action, we build our capabilities, and then we have confidence because we have done the actions over and over, and we've proven to ourselves that we can do it. So no more procrastination. We're going to have the commitment, we're having courage, we're going to start taking action, and then we will see the results. And again, confusion, that just goes back to our first thing that we talked about, where we think that we have to go find it. We're not sure what it is. We think it has to be something larger than what a simple sentence could be of what we're going to be working on in this workshop. And then lastly, it's not anything that is out there. Everything that we ever have, want, or need is already within ourselves. And I think we've been programmed through society, through our parents, through loved ones, like everybody who has very good intentions often, to think that we need to be doing for others. And again, I'm not saying that we don't have to do for others, but we have to be willing to look within ourselves to find all of the answers. People outside of us do not know what is best for us. So listening to the voice inside of you is really going to be the first step that we take in defining your purpose. It's as simple as being yourself. And I recently was talking on one of the podcasts because I said, I still filter myself sometimes because I think, oh, what might they think? But my goal this year is to really take that off, which might be frightening if you think I'm already crazy now at sometimes and taking off more of the filter. So let's dive into the actual workshop part, because I talk about a lot of times content consumption, right? That's like listening, which is amazing, learning, reading. I do it all myself. But really, where our lives change is when we take the time to actually start doing the work on ourselves. So I want you to take some time. I'm going to give you a minute here, and I want you to ask yourself, what brings you joy? Like, where are your passions? And I want you to do the answers under the umbrella of there is no judgment. There is no judgment from family, no judgment from coworkers, no judgment from yourself and that mean girl voice that we sometimes hear. So no judgment. What brings you joy? Where are your passions? And I'm going to give you 1 minute to write that down. And of course, if there's any questions, feel free to come off of mute and hop on in. And remember, no judgment. There's no right or wrong answer here. A lot of the folks that are watching or here can sometimes have perfectionistic thoughts and think there's right answers and wrong answers. It's just listening to yourself. What brings you joy? What are your passions? And then we'll go on to the next activities. Okay, that's our minute. So I'm going to go ahead. And if you're on replay, you can always just hit pause as well. So here is a list that is not all inclusive. For sure, if you think of other sentences, I want you to use what resonates for you. And I want you to stick a word in after I am. I am are probably two of the most powerful words that we tell ourselves, because what we tell ourselves is what we believe. And a lot of times, I'll talk about the importance of awareness. And I've been doing much more work through subconscious therapy, I guess it is, with some of my coaches, which is super interesting. And they say that we only know about 5% of our thoughts. We have like 60 to 70,000 thoughts a day, and we're only aware of like 5% of them. And doing this work, so sometimes you might be saying, I am not smart, I am not thin enough, I am whatever those are, we need to pay attention. I want you to think about what are useful words to put after I am for you, and think about, let's do 5 just for the purposes of this activity. And you can write them down however works for you. If it's on your phone, computer, notepad, whatever works. I'm going to give you, again, 1 minute, and I will be right back. Pay attention to, when you're writing those words down, I am, how you feel. Because again, everything goes back to that thought model. And if you're writing something down that doesn't feel empowering or something that's going to be useful in driving your actions towards your purpose, then we really want to question that. So I am, words that are going to be useful for you. Okay, that is 1 minute for that. Let's go on to the next one. This activity we're going to take a little bit more time with, and I'm not sure if anyone has done this in the past. It's a core values activity. And what it allows us to do is look at what is important to us and helps us to determine and make decisions through the filter of those core values. What we're going to end up doing is looking at kind of the combination of these 3 activities. What brings us joy? what are I am sentences, and what are our core values. And that's how we're going to determine our purpose. So I'm going to put up another list here. You're going to choose all of the values that resonate with you, whatever you see on the list. And again, if there's something that's not on the list, just add it for you, whatever you think your core values are. Then we are going to group them into similar groups. So sometimes you might have something like caring, loving, or fun, adventurous, like they might be all over the place. So we're going to streamline them into 5 different similar groups. And then we're going to pick one word from each group that kind of encompasses the idea of the group. And then we'll add a verb, but we'll get to that. I'm going to put up the list here. I'll give you 2 minutes here to first do all of the ones that maybe resonate, and then being able to take the time to group them together. So that'll be 2 minutes, and then we'll do 1 minute on the back end for figuring out which word kind of sums them up the best. Okay, that's the 2 minutes. So if you need more time, just let me know. But now let's take a look at the groups and see if you can figure out what word seems to kind of encompass most of the other words. And we'll do a total again of 5. Okay, now we're going to put a verb before it. So I'll share with you what my 5 were, and then I'll just give you an example of the verbs so that might help as you're doing it. So my core values are learn, care, help others, trust, and fun. I just realized I had 6 on there, but I'm just going to stop there. So I didn't follow the rules. Now, my verbs that I put are learn to grow and evolve, build trust in self and others, seek opportunities to make a difference, have fun, and live in freedom. So I'm going to give you we'll do 2 more minutes because I think for this one, it took me a little bit of time to try to figure out what verbs went with each core value. So we'll do 2 minutes. Okay, so now, this is part of this purpose workshop, but the other great thing about looking at our core values, and these can change also. I've done these a couple times with different coaches, and as my life changes, sometimes my core values shift a little bit. So again, there's no right or wrong answer. It really is, especially if we're doing this work of like trying to evolve and to grow ourselves. Like, I am not the same person that I was this time last year, right? I am for sure not the same person that I was when I started coaching. Back then, I thought I had to leave my job. I was just going to do coaching. I didn't have time for any of this, right? I don't have those same stories that I do now. So the values may change. But the important thing is, yes, we're going to use it for our purpose workshop, but also start taking these into consideration in your everyday life. So if someone asks you to do something, take a look at your core values. Does it fall in line with what's important to you? So for me, is it something that I'm going to actually learn and evolve from? Might not be my thing to do, right? If it's not something that I actually trust the person, might not be my thing to do. I think prior to that, I had the mindset of like, I just got to do what anybody says. I want to make sure it's right. I want to make sure I'm people pleasing, all of that. Just get curious when you're being asked to do things or if something comes up in your life, because that also, right, determining through our core values will help us to decrease our stress and overwhelm if we're doing more things that are important to us. Now, let's take a look. Go to the next one. Want to look back at what were your answers to what brings you joy? What are your passions? Take that into consideration with your I am statements, and then look at your core values, and let's figure out what could be a purpose statement for you. And again, it does not have to be anything that is altruistic, world changing. It could literally be, I want to be able to give my family love every single day in an honest and true way, right? It could be anything that works for you, where you want to focus your clarity, your intentions, spend your time, because that really is like our time. We don't get it back, friends. Like, we have to be doing more of what we want. So my sentence is, and I've kind of tweaked it a little bit through the years, it's pretty much always remained the same, but I try to include my I am statements in there too. I am an energetic person who wants to make a ripple effect in the world by helping more women see their true power so they can do more of what they want, right? So they can have more fun in their life, because fun is a core value to me. So I need to be able to do that. I'll have to be doing things that help me to learn and evolve and be able to share. So think about that for you. I'm going to do another, let's do 2 minutes. But again, if we need more time, just let me know. Kind of look over each of your little activities and what does that sentence look like for you? Okay, that's our 2 minutes. And you'll notice I have those crashing waves there because I still do this work, right? It's not like you all of a sudden arrive and you're evolved. So my coach always tells me I need to change my statement instead of a ripple effect. I need to be making waves. So that's my reminder of what I'm working towards. Now, I want to take a minute here because we said we started with the model and we're going to end it back here. We're at almost the 30-minute mark, which is where we typically do the teaching and then open it up for questions and coaching. And I want you to see how things maybe have changed. So now we're going to keep the circumstance still as purpose, but instead, I want you to put your thought line as your line that you just decided as your purpose. So instead of, I'm trying to find my purpose, I'm not sure where to go, what is your sentence that you just wrote down as your purpose? And then how do you feel when you read that sentence? Now, two things we want to make sure of, because sometimes when we do this work, we think it has to be all rainbows, daisies, and butterflies. We do want to make sure that your purpose thought feels like a feeling that will inspire you to take action towards the result that you want. So a lot of times I'll ask people to just say it to yourself. Number one, make sure you believe it. If you feel like it's too far out or it's too big or it's too much of a stretch and you don't believe it, then it's not going to stick. We really need to make sure that you feel like it's something that's going to stick. To my point, I haven't changed my statement yet about making waves because I still feel like I'm working on the ripple effect, right? The waves is going to be like the next, it's coming. I just don't feel like I'm fully there to really have inspired action that will not have that little bit of doubt in there. So make sure that you believe it and then check in on the feeling and that it's a feeling that will drive energy. Like, is it a powerful feeling? Is it committed? Is it determined? So write that down so we can kind of look at what the model will give you as you think that. So what is the sentence? How do you feel? One word feeling. And if you need help with that, feel free to come off of mute too, because the feelings work is so important. And a lot of times people might say like, I feel good. It feels okay. Like, what is it? Is it determined? Is it committed? Is it scared? Is it courageous? Like, think of that feeling. And then when you are feeling that, what actions do you take? And in the action line, you can write out all of the actions. So you might say, for example, if I'm saying that I want to make a ripple effect on the world and help women, my actions are sometimes things like be very intentional with the podcast that I write. Make sure I'm posting things that are going to be inspiring. Like, what is it for you? Making sure I'm living what I'm preaching, right? Making sure I'm taking care of myself, getting in my exercise, making sure I'm paying attention to my time and how I'm spending it. So put all of the actions in. And then when you do all of those actions, is the result what your purpose statement is? Because that's what the model will show us, that our thoughts give us our results when we go through the feeling and the action. And that's where you'll be able to see the biggest differences. One other thing on the feeling line. So when I talk about the importance of feeling empowered, committed, determined, whatever that is for your purpose line, your thought line, I also want to make sure that we're clear that it does not mean that doing what you love every single day, living on purpose, is always going to make you feel lovely, right? Because sometimes it might not feel so great. Sometimes I might be trying new things, for example, as I'm trying to get louder, that are super uncomfortable. And that's okay. Like, life is 50-50. Our purpose is also going to be feelings management, knowing that we can feel all of the feelings in between, that our purpose is not always rainbows, daisies, and butterflies, that sometimes it can feel scary. Sometimes it can feel overwhelming, but we want to make sure that it's intentional, that we're always aware of what it is that we're doing, why we're doing it, and do we like our reason why we're doing it? Okay, so you guys may already know, if you want more free content, for sure, the podcast each week. And then if you want to get on a call just to connect, michelleburkecoaching.com/connect. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing the screen here. And I am going to come back here. I'm going to stop recording.